This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, He will give it to me. And if I need a thought, that will He also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of Him. And He is in charge by my request, and He will hear and answer me, because He speaks for God my Father and His Holy Son and His Holy Son. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Well, hello. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for lesson 364 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students here on December the 30th of 2022. We're reading from the original edition in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, published by A Course in Miracles Society. Their online address is jcim.net. We're also reading from Song of Prayer, which is an extension of the principles of A Course in Miracles, also written by the same voice that we understand to be Joshua, Jesus. And in the Song of Prayer is published by the Foundation for Inner Peace, and their online website is acim.net, or no, .org, excuse me, acim.org. Okay, and we've read the lesson already. This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And that's the title, or the words that we want to kind of bring into our meditation. And if you want to read the whole lesson, it's not much more to it. It's very short words. And if I need a word to help me, He will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will He also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of Him. He is in charge by my request, and He will hear and answer me, because He speaks for God my Father and His Holy Son. So, some people just get things better if there's not any melody with it. Other people, it's just fine. Other people, it helps to have the melody. So however best able you to integrate it into your thoughts is how we want to do it. So let's go take a look now at separation versus union, which is in chapter 3, the last chapter in Song of Prayer, section Roman numeral 3, separation versus union. And there's just one more section, which we'll finish up tomorrow at the end of the year, huh? Separation versus union. False healing heals the body in a part, but never as a whole. False healing heals the body in a part, but never as a whole. Its separate goals become quite clear in this, for it has not removed the curse of sin that lies on it. Therefore it still deceives. Nor is it made by one who understands the other is exactly like himself. For it is this that makes true healing possible, that we're all in this together. Therefore it still deceives. Nor is it made, the healing, nor is it made by one who understands the other is exactly like himself. The one he thinks he's healing is really himself. For it is that makes true healing possible. When false, there is some power that another has, not equally bestowed on both as one. Here is the separation shown, and here the meaning of true healing has been lost, and idols have arisen to obscure the unity that is the Son of God. Just keep in mind that what you see in your brother is yourself. Don't think, well, they're over there and they're doing that. That's not what I'm doing. What they are doing, if you're seeing it, you're one and the same. I know that's maybe a hard teaching to comprehend, but you know what? Just maybe easier to just take it on faith and let it be shown to you. That's what a lot of things that I do is I don't quite understand it, but I trust what the voice that I'm reading and that I'm learning from has proved itself in so many ways that he's like an older brother that knows, and me as the younger brother needs to take heed and listen. Paragraph 2. Healing to separate may seem to be a strange idea, and yet it can be said of any form of healing that is based on inequality of any kind. Healing to separate may seem to be a strange idea, and yet it can be said of any form of healing that is based on inequality of any kind. These forms may heal the body and indeed are generally limited to this, just for healing the body. Someone knows better, has been better trained, or is perhaps more talented and wise. Therefore, he can give healing to the one who stands beneath him in his patronage. The healing of the body can be done by this because in dreams, equality cannot be permanent. The shifts and change are what the dream is made of. To be healed appears to be to find a wiser one who by his arts and learning will succeed. Let's read that last couple sentences. The shifts and change are what the dream is made of. To be healed appears to be to find a wiser one who by his arts and learning will succeed. We don't want to just trade one dream of sickness for a dream of healing. That's false healing. We want to get the cause, which is thought, which is feeling, which is mind. We want to tune in at that level and get a true healing. Paragraph 3. Someone knows better. This the magic phrase by which the body seems to be the aim of healing as the world conceives of it. And to this wiser one goes to profit by his learning and his skill, to find in him the remedy for pain. How can this be? How can that be? True healing cannot come from inequality assumed and then accepted as the truth, and used to help restore the wounded and to calm the mind that suffers from the agony of doubt. Let's read that again. Someone knows better, this the magic phrase by which the body seems to be the aim of healing, as the world conceives of it. And to this wiser one, another goes to profit by his learning and his skill, to find in him the remedy for pain. How can that be? True healing cannot come from inequality, assumed and then accepted as the truth, and used to help restore the wounded and to calm the mind that suffers from the agony of doubt. 4. Is there a role for healing then, that one can use to offer help for someone else? In arrogance, the answer must be no. but in humility there is indeed a place for helpers. It is like the role that helps in prayer and lets forgiveness be what it is meant to be. You do not make yourself the bearer of the special gift that brings the healing. You but recognize your oneness with the one who calls for help. You but recognize your oneness with the one who calls for help. Okay, now this is true healing with humility. Let's look at that again. Is there a role for healing then that one can use to offer help for someone else? In arrogance, the answer must be no. But in humility, there is indeed a place for helpers. It is like the role that helps in prayer and lets forgiveness be what it is meant to be. You do not make yourself the bearer of the special gift that brings the healing. You but recognize your oneness with the one who calls for help. For in this oneness is his separate sense dispelled, and it is this that made him sick. His separate sense is dispelled, and it is this that makes him sick, that made him sick. There is no point in giving remedy apart from where the source of sickness is, for never thus can it be truly healed. This idea that we're separate from each other is where sickness is born, even the body sickness. Paragraph 5. Healers there are, for they are sons of God who recognize their source, capital S in source, speaking of divinity of God. Healers there are, for they are sons of God who recognize their source and understand that all their source creates is one with them. This is the remedy that brings relief, which cannot fail. It will remain to bless for all eternity. It heals no part, but wholly and forever. Now the cause of every malady has been revealed exactly as it is, and in that place is written now the holy word of God. Sickness and separation must be healed by love and union. Nothing else can heal as God established healing. Without him there is no healing, for there is no love. Without God there is no healing because there is no love. And love's what brings the healing. He's making it real clear for us to see. And the last paragraph 6, God's voice alone can tell you how to heal. God's voice alone can tell you how to heal. But we've been learning how to listen to God's voice. Well, that's what our whole lesson about today, isn't it? God's voice alone can tell you how to heal. This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And anyway, this last paragraph, God's voice alone can tell you how to heal. Listen, and you will never fail to bring his kindly remedy to those he sends to you, to let him heal them, and to bless all those who serve with him in healing's name. The body's healing will occur because its cause has gone. The body's healing will occur because its cause has gone. And now without a cause it cannot come again in different form. Nor will death any more be feared because it has been understood. There is no fear in one who has been truly healed. For love has entered now where idols used to stand, and fear has given way at last to God. And we could change that word God to love. Let me read that last sentence again. There is no fear in one who has been truly healed, for love has entered now where idols used to be, and fear has given way at last to love. Okay, well, that's what we want. This holy instant would I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, he will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will he also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of him. He is in charge by my request, and he will hear and answer me, because he speaks for God my Father and his Holy Son. Let's take a look at a plant. You all know the story of the chestnut blight. The chestnuts used to be huge trees, most abundant tree on the eastern woodlands of North America. At least that's how I understand it. It was an amazing tree. It was used for beautiful wood that was rot resistant, used for everything from outside furniture, fence posts, and it was real beautiful finished wood that was beautiful in houses, chestnut, for furniture, inside or out. Anyway, had so many uses, but it was the nut that was so supreme for wildlife. It was had wonderful flavor. Even songs we sing, roasting chestnuts on an open fire. Well, the blight came in the early 1900s, and it was a blight that was introduced from some plants that came from I believe it. I'm not sure exactly, but it was either Asia, somewhere in Asia, or it might have been even Japan. But these plants had the blight on it, and the western woodlands or the eastern woodlands or the America, it didn't have resistance to this blight, and they all died. Now they didn't actually die; the roots are still alive, but they only lived to be about maybe 10 years old. Then that blight hits them again. It doesn't affect the root, so it'll send back plants, but now they look like dead bushes with a bunch of dead stumps that stand up because they don't rot real well. Well, there's the Chestnut Foundation, the American Chestnut Foundation, has been working since about in the late or in the 60s at trying to cross a Chinese chestnut with an American chestnut. And the Chinese chestnut is, well, let's start with the American chestnut. It's the Castanea dittata, and the Chinese chestnut is the Castanea mollissima. Well, what they're doing is they've crossed them, and if they cross them, they're blight resistant. And they can cross them again. Well, the first time it crossed, it's a half cross, so 50-50. And then the next cross would be a 75-25. And they can keep getting it down until they get to a 15/16 cross. And the 15/16 is what we're waiting for. And as soon as those seeds become available and we can plant those, that will be a chestnut immune American chestnut again. Look primarily like an American chestnut with only 1/16 of the Chinese chestnut. So I've been waiting for that for years, and I'm hoping they come out pretty soon. In the meantime, you can buy a Chinese chestnut from ediblelandscaping.com. And let me just tell you about it. It says Chinese chestnuts are good nuts to grow in the U.S. because of their resistance to blight. Tree grows tall and spreading. 2 plants should be planted to ensure production of nuts. So be sure to plant at least 2. Space 30-foot circles, so they get to be a pretty good sized tree. Zones 5 through 8. And that's your Chinese chestnut. And there are some varieties of chestnuts, though, that they found in isolated settings that didn't have the blight. And one of them, I forget the fella who did this, but he found a particular tree, and he tried to inoculate it with the blight, and that small grove didn't get them. So they're thinking that particular variety might be a blight-resistant variety, and that's also a possible solution, but of getting American chestnuts again. Anyway, I just encourage people to try to do what you can to keep the natural order robust and alive in our area. And one of the things that I've noticed about, well, there's Chinese chestnut in particular, or American chestnut, is they said that it was the largest ecological disaster that's known in the Americas. I expect that's pretty close to the ecological disaster that happened with a lot of diseases that were brought from the old world to the new world that a lot of the indigenous people weren't able to survive. That had to be a terrible situation in those days also. And it was actually used as a kind of a warfare, unfortunately. They would take infected blankets and put them in areas where they wanted to eradicate people so they could take their land. My goodness, they didn't understand that what you do to your brother, you do to yourself. Of course, they didn't even see them as brothers, huh? Which is doubly distant from the truth. Anyway, Chinese chestnut from ediblelandscaping.com. Let's see, what do we want to do? Do we want to, it's been, I'd still like to read our final lessons one more time. The write-up. Our final lessons will be left as free of words as possible. We use them but at the beginning of our practicing and only to remind us that we seek to go beyond them. Let us turn to Him who leads the way and makes our footsteps sure. To Him we leave these lessons, as to Him we give our lives henceforth. For we would not return again to the belief in sin, which made the world seem ugly and unsafe, attacking and destroying, dangerous in all its ways, and treacherous beyond the hope of trust and the escape from pain. His is the only way to find the peace that God has given us. It is His way that everyone must travel in the end, because it is this ending God Himself appointed. In the dream of time it seems to be far off, and yet in truth it is already here, already serving us as gracious guidance and the way to go. Let us together follow in this way that truth points out to us, and let us be the leaders of our many brothers who are seeking for the way, but find it not. And to this purpose let us dedicate our minds, directing all our thoughts to serve the function of salvation. Unto us the aim is given to forgive the world. It is the goal that God has given us, to forgive the world. And it is His ending to the dream we seek, and not our own. For all that we forgive, we will not fail to recognize as part of God Himself, and thus His memory is given back completely and complete. It is our function to remember Him on earth, as it is given us to be His own completion in reality. Let us not forget our goal is shared. Let us not forget our goal is shared. For it is that remembrance which contains the memory of God, and points the way to Him and to the heaven of His peace. And shall we not forgive our brothers who can offer this to us? He is the way, the truth, and life that shows the way to us. In Him resides salvation, offered us through our forgiveness given unto Him. We will not end this year without the gift our Father promised to His Holy Son. We are forgiven now, and we are saved from all the wrath we thought belonged to God and found it was a dream. We are restored to sanity, in which we understand that anger is insane. Anger is insane? Remember that next time you get angry. And that probably take the wind out of it, huh? Attack is mad. Well, same thing. And vengeance, merely foolish fantasy. To try to get revenge is foolish fantasy. Let it go. We've learned a better way, haven't we? To listen to the voice of peace in our hearts from God, from love. We have been saved from wrath because we learned we were mistaken, nothing more than that. And is a father angry at his son because he failed to understand the truth? We come in honesty to him and say we did not understand, and ask him to help us to learn his lessons through the voice of his own teacher. Would he hurt his son? Or would he rush to answer him and say, "This is my son, and all I have is his"? Be certain he will answer thus, for these are his words, for these are his own words to you, and more than that can no one ever have. For in these words is all there is and all that there will be throughout all time and in eternity. And, for our lesson coming up next year, I think that what we're going to call it, and I haven't decided for sure, but I'll let you know for sure tomorrow, A Course in Miracles, Lesson 1, 1-1-2022 with Willie. I think that's how we'll title it. Okay? So be sure to do your 2 extended periods of meditation and your hourly remembrance. And thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And hope to see you tomorrow. And if you're up for it and you want to spend another year with me, come again next year. If not, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to tell your friends if you think it could help them. Or maybe you should make that decision. Just if it comes to your mind, maybe you should say it that way. If the Holy Spirit leads you. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, He will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will He also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of Him. And He is in charge by my request, and He will hear and answer me, because He speaks for God my Father and His Holy Son. And His Holy Son. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain